If you're a fan of professional Counter-Strike, then this offseason has been one of the most interesting in recent memory, and it's all anyone has been talking about. Today we're going to do a tier list, and I'm going to give my insight on what I believe to be the most interesting roster moves out there. So let's get into it. So just a quick breakdown then of what the tier list looks like. Unsure is for anyone that I don't really know too much information about. I'm going to try and limit this as much as possible. Could be messy is mostly down to the roles, if it's on new unknown players, this sort of thing. Downgrade kind of speaks for itself, as does upgrade. Exciting is something that may not particularly be an upgrade, but it could be something that's just interesting. And elite is based on not the teams that I believe will be elite right now particularly, but more the teams that I think have made a massive improvement on what they already had. So the first team then, I think we'll start probably with the undeniably best team on this list then. So that'll be Gamerlegion. We'll put them straight in elite, and probably give the coach a raise as well. If I put this actually in a real ranking, probably put it somewhere in exciting. My thought process for this team was we just need to find the balance. When we had the situation when we sold Shuey after the Paris Major, we just had a role clash, and that just meant that we were too supportive on the team to win supportive pieces. So this is a move to kind of balance the team out a bit more. We have PR as probably one of the best talents out there in all the world Counter-Strike, to be honest, and Rez, who I'm hoping has a real drive to play and prove himself again after being on this really inconsistent NIP team. And bringing a player like him in is exciting because I think he's been so consistent for so long in a very inconsistent environment, and I think that makes him very undervalued, and hopefully he slots in and we'll see progression in this team. I don't want to just hang around the level we're already at, so hopefully this is a way to shortcut our flaws that we've lost with losing Flamus, and now we can get back on the right track and be competitive very quickly. Alright, so we'll go through the list then. So Liquid, I think there's still big question marks on Liquid, and I will put this in huge upgrade because I believe that the stock of Ykinda has really been falling recently. His level hasn't been anything like the way it was, and if anything, he's been overcompensating with his aggression for the lack of aggression that they have in the team. Nertz is not that sort of player though. Maybe people look at him and think, yeah, he does make a lot of plays. He's not really the sort of person who groups with the team and goes in first, and this really will still be a problem. But on paper, Nertz for me is one of the best players in the world, and his roles is amazing, and I have to put this as a huge upgrade just because of how Ykinda was, but there is a lot of problems still to solve in Liquid. All right, the next one then, Team Falcons. So this is for me is just an easy elite. I mean, people won't like this probably because they're not the most popular team, but if we're basing it on a tier list of what they had to what they have now, it's just a no-brainer. It's a really good core in the heroic team. They bring their Valve rankings over as well. They kind of had to do this to stay relevant, to be honest. They keep Magisk, and they bring Niko in, who's just arguably one of the best riflers all time, right? Compared to what they have, it's just a no-brainer. The team was really struggling. Now they're going to start again. The expectations are going to be very high. At least they get to attend all the tier 1 tournaments without being stuck down there. Now the pressure is really on Zonic. He has to make this work. On paper, though, this is a very good team, and compared to the last team, it blows out of the water. So easy elite for me. And then the next team, Complexity. This is kind of a difficult one. I don't think there's much Complexity can really do about this, but when you lose Elige, who is easily one of the best players in the world, in a limited talent pool when you're trying to stay within NA, as Jason Lake's often said, this means that replacing a player like this is almost impossible, and because of this, I'm going to have to put them in could be messy, because it could be messy. I'm not entirely sure who they're bringing in yet, but it won't be a player on the same level as Elige, and this then means that Grim is going to have to step up in his new roles, which could absolutely happen, but I think that there's nothing really there to suggest that Grim will be as good as Elige, and because of this and the unknown about the roster, this could be a very difficult year, and if Complexity get this right, then hats off to them. And then G2, so as I just said, Niko is one of the best riflers of all time, right? And Heavy God, I think he's an excellent player, I really do. What will happen now is Malves will go back into his normal roles instead of Niko. Heavy God will fit the team better in Malves' roles. I do worry though, because Niko was Niko, his presence will really be felt now it's not on the team. Hopefully the fan pressure is way down and they don't feel it as much, but I have to put this as downgrade because you're losing Niko for Heavy God. As much as Heavy God has shown a lot of promise, it's not the same level at all, and will Monastery be as motivated now? I guess only time will tell. For now, it's a downgrade, but this is a team that still for sure could win tournaments if they get things right. Super interesting still, but you're losing Niko, and I think it's hard to really justify anything else. Moving on to Big, they're a bit of a weird team at the moment in a strange sort of situation. So what they really do have going for them is having their own language that they can speak, which is just a massive upgrade in a lot of teams. Sorry, a massive potential difference maker to a lot of teams, because these teams that are able to speak their own language, they can speak much faster, much clearer. I think teams like Soar and Eternal Fire, though, in particular, compared to Big, are just another level of what they've been showing. Big have kind of been hanging on with partner invites a lot as well. I feel the top 25 ranking feels a little bit inflated. I saw last year they had significantly below 50% win rate. Something kind of off with Big because it feels like core-wise compared to Eternal Fire and Sword, they should be much better. They should be the best of the three, but they just haven't been. What I also don't like as well is Searson, I think, was showing like a bit of a resurgence. He's a very difficult player to play against, and now they're going to Hyped, which I might feel a little bit better about, but Hyped has been in the main team before. It didn't quite work. I do like QB, however, but then it's also a bit weird because Regon was playing very aggressive in this team and a lot of responsibility, and QB seems more of a supportive sort of player. So I'm not sure about this one, but overall I'm going to put it in a downgrade tier just because I feel that Searson's numbers maybe don't reflect the sort of impact he has on this team. And when you're a national team, your downside most of the time is that you just don't have the talent pool to pick from, and Big seem to be just in a little bit of a loop where they're hanging on with the partner invites, keeping the core together and just going through the same few players. So hopefully QB has a good period here in this team as a player I do rate very highly, but for now I'm going to leave it in downgrade and we'll have to keep an eye on them for the next year. I'd also like to add as well that this rumor is potentially a little bit speculation because the video might come before then, so maybe take this one with a pinch of salt. So let's move on to VP. They've also added Flammers from Gamerlegion, my team, and they added Icy. And I think these two are super exciting players, like really, really exciting players. And I think on paper, this is probably the most exciting team to watch of anyone. With a rifle core of Flit, Fame, Flammers, and Electronic, this has potential to be the best in the world. But you are completely changing your system now. There's question marks on Electronic, but I want to really see this team having fun. I also think that Jane was probably being a little bit underrated in the sense that people have lost confidence in him in the system, but as always, it's normally not all one reason. And Norbert is excellent in his role, so there could be a little bit of a weird role thing going on here. The question marks are on Electronics and Gamerlegion, but I want to see this team have fun. And if I see Flams looking miserable, I'm going to come for them. So for now, I'll put this in exciting. I think there's not quite enough there yet to say it's a huge upgrade. So this will be a team to watch for sure, and I will definitely keep an eye on these. FaZe. Losing Ropz is difficult, and I think it's really hard to argue if it's going to be an upgrade or a downgrade because Elige is just one of the best players in the world. I'm really glad that they brought a player in a similar stature to Ropz. I don't think you can really make an argument on upgrade or downgrade, so I'll leave this in exciting because as always FaZe are exciting to watch, and maybe now Rain goes back to more rankering, and recently he's been playing more of the open positions, and maybe now we'll see Frozen and Elige kind of being the hard carries of the team rather than it being a sort of a split thing. But exciting because FaZe are always great to watch anyway. And then NIP. So as I said before, I want to base this tier list kind of on what they had before, right? It's not just a tier list of the best teams. I think this NIP team is right up here, probably just this side of Falcons. Actually, we'll go this way around. This is because the NIP team is just expectations to kind of hit rock bottom. The team has been a mess, bringing in young players, swapping them out again, changing in-game leader, changing coaches. Bringing this team in now, it looks like it has a direction. It looks like the roles fit. I think you bring Snappy in, whose stock is very, very low right now because he was one of the best upcoming in-game leaders in CSGO, even if he is on the older side. I have a lot of faith in him to get this right. You have Shush, who's just one of the best anchors in the world. He's super, super consistent. The two best players from Saw come in as well. Arazdochi, I don't know how to say his name, and Nujerks. And then round it off with Wrinkle, and I think also with Wrinkle, I'd like to see him balance his playstyle a little bit more. It does feel like he is a little bit too flashy, maybe, going for too many plays. Now he needs to find that balance, but for me, this is one of the most interesting teams, and also it's a coach's dream because you bring in the older, more not experienced or established players, but these are exciting players. You get to play tier 2 tournaments to build up the confidence, build up the map pool. Everyone's ratings will be inflated, so that less pressure is there. Hopefully the fans will give them some time, and this is a team where in 3, 4, 5 months, when they do finally get through tier 2, which will be easier said than done, but I would expect them to do so, this could be a really, really difficult team. For me, this is the most fun team to coach out there for Exist. This should be a team that should work. It has a lot of upside compared to the last team, though. This is an unbelievable upgrade, and I'd like to see them, the organization, finally get some stability and give something for the fans to cheer about. So absolutely elite for me. Right, I think next we'll go with Heroic. I think I will put this in downgrade, but I think also this is a team that will be good still. I think Heroic as an organization has done unbelievable in this offseason. They've made an absolute fortune selling their players on. They're making something sustainable, and they bring in a team that also keeps their Valve ranking, has some interesting pieces as well, right? But I think when you're comparing Nilo, who's an elite talent, to Nertz, it's for sure a downgrade. Dexter to some bias is pretty similar, and the Sangle core to the Heroic core we said moving to Falcons. I think this is for sure a downgrade. But for me, this is really interesting team still. And I'm interested to see how Saw does, who's done an amazing job in the past. Maybe they have the idea to swap some players out in a few months, but Heroic, their own organization, have done an amazing job making something profitable. I think fans would need to lower their expectations 100%, and they're just going to start again. And in 6 months' time, this team probably looks different. For now, I have to put it in downgrade from what they had anyway. And then Vitality. So this is a one-for-one change. I believe personally right now that Ropz is the better player than Spinks. I think Spinks is also a fantastic player. But what I love about this one comes from the negatives heard in the interviews from Flamesy and Apex, and also the rumors about Spinks. And I kind of will mention these here. You can, again, don't have to take them word for word, but there also have been these rumors that Spinks hasn't enjoyed playing with the team. They haven't enjoyed playing with him, and that Spinks has had maybe a lack of confidence in some of the players. Mezzy and I think Apex were both cited. I want to see this team having more fun. I want to see Flamesy completely unleashed, maybe in some new roles, because Ropz does play a mixture of those anchor and rotation positions. But I think this could bring a whole new lease of life to an unbelievable team already. I don't think there's a weak spot on this team. I think everyone in this team has proved themselves. Potentially as well, this gives Mezzy some more confidence. This team really could be the best team of the year. There's so much I like about them. For me, this is an easy elite. To lose Spinks and bring Ropz in, unbelievable job. Looking really forward to seeing these guys play. So then we'll go to Sangle then. Let's move in, bringing in Jota for Calix. Calix I always thought was a very solid player. There are some weird role issues here when I was looking into this, but I don't think it'd be too major. But also what I didn't really like was that Jota seems far more aggressive going for the entry attempts than Calix was. And also Calix is throwing way more flashes, which suggests that there might be a support issue on this team. But Eternal Fire, they have the problem that some of these other teams have with the limited talent pool like we talked about. To be able to bring in someone like Jota just means that on paper, this team on its day will just destroy pretty much anybody. If they can get the team right and get the right balance, for me, I will give this a huge upgrade. There will be problems in there for now, but to do this in a national team, have Xantares, Wicadia, Woxic, and Jota on the team with a proper in-game leader, this is a really exciting team. It sucks for Calix, but this keeps this team really ticking over. It keeps them hungry. I'm really, really excited to see how they play and how they make this all work. And then Saw. So Saw's an interesting team. I always feel that they are a well-coached team or structured team, but then they seem to change coaches quite a lot, which makes me think maybe it's just the playing style, maybe it's Mutiris. I think they are going to struggle this year because they've set their expectations so high and what they've done has just been amazing. I don't know now what they will think for in the future, because I would hope they would brought maybe some Brazilian players in because of the Portuguese language, but they haven't done that. And because of this, I don't really think that these two will fill in the shoes of the last two guys. And this could be messy for them, but I do have a lot of faith in them because of how many times Mutiris has made this work. And Saw just seem to get things done. So for now, short term, it could be messy. Get your expectations lowered a bit. I imagine these guys will be well coached. They will in a good environment to improve. And if they do have the potential that Saw believe they do, they will come back eventually. But for the start of the year, it could be a little bit messy. And whilst we're talking about Brazilian players on the Brazilian nationality, I'll put Payne in the unsure category. This is just because I am an EU coach. I do follow the EU scene, and Brazilian scene I don't follow. It's not my job to do so. So rather than give some ill-informed opinion, I'll put them in unsure. They're always an interesting team to see at LANs, but I don't really know anything about the changes, so we'll just leave them there. And for Fnatic, I'll put them in exciting, even though I believe also Fear should be on this list as well. I do believe that Bermilov isn't as good as Nork right now, and Fear individually might not be as strong as Body, but he brings a lot of passion. I think this is a young upcoming in-game leader and a young upcoming AWP, which makes it interesting. Maybe this team isn't significantly better than the Fnatic they just had, which is a little bit disappointing. I am a little bit confused as well by the direction. They've got the older players in BlameF and Crims and the younger players, so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of looks in the long term. I would have loved to see Jambo in this team, though. I think potential-wise, this guy is right up there among the best. So much playmaking ability. Played with Fear. Maybe this couldn't make it happen. Maybe they didn't look into making it happening. It's still an exciting team, though, bringing in some young blood, and we always want to see this in the tier 1 space. Fear especially, bringing the attitude and the charm he has to this team. It'll still make it an interesting one for sure, compared to what they had last time. Okay, so lastly, we have a brand new team. Should be announced today. Oscar, STYKO, Krasnal, QQ, and Fesor. So this is a mixture of a little bit of inexperience, or a lot of experience. I think I'll put this in on shore for now because I've no idea how this could play out. This could be interesting. It's great to see STYKO back playing. It's great to see Oscar trying himself on an international team again. Maybe he can find that form that he had with Sinners going into the RMR. You can't really judge this on anything though. It's a brand new team, but I thought I'd throw it in there anyway with STYKO being a fellow content creator, and we'll see how this goes. As always, thank you for watching. Something a little bit different today. Hopefully it's just a bit more fun than anything else to get a conversation going. No need to take any of this too seriously. Thank you for watching as always. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.